Khan.
Alright. Shalom. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, for another day that we can come together in the spirit of the Most High, meditating and going into these scriptures. So there's so many things going on the earth right now. We need to be physically and mentally prepared for all of the things that are going on, right? So we need to make sure we have all of the provisions, all of the wisdom that the Most High has put upon the earth so that we can be prepared for the days that are to come. Don't think that these days are going to be easy. These days are going to be simple that the Most High has set before us, right? So um, let's get into this topic, which is going to be on the famine that is to come, right? Um, let's start in the book of Amos, chapter 5, verse 18.
Thomas, read it. You got it.
Okay. It says, woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. So a lot of people, they get excited, when it comes to the destruction of Babylon and their end times coming, saying, yeah, I can't wait until the end days. I can't wait for Yahushua to come back. I can't wait for World War III. I can't wait for, Jacob's trouble. Yeah, let's kick it off. Let's kick it off. Let's get it ready. Right. Let's get it going right now. You know, that might, just you might hear some people in that spirit. Don't just repeat those things when you're not even in that spirit that they're in. Right. Some people are looking forward to that day, but you need to make sure, we all need to make sure we're actually in the right spirit to prepare ourselves for those days. Do we actually know what's going to be going through those days? It's not just, like a Christian thinks about the rapture. It's not just going to be like that. It's not just going
Right.
to be, you're not going to be sitting at home in a corner of your bedroom, and then, you just get beamed up randomly, and then you're in heaven in the clouds and meeting Jesus Christ. It's not going to be that easy, right? It says, woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? You don't know what the end is for you. You can say, yeah, I can't wait for Yahushua to come back. Yahushua might come and burn you up because he said, depart from me, because he doesn't know you. Like, so the main thing is making sure that we know the Most High, and the Lord knows us. That's our priority. And we also need to know what we're getting into, that we've counted the cost, that we know what these end times are going to entail, or that we know that these last days are not going to be easy. They are going to get difficult. The Most High is going to test us. He's going to try us. It's going to prove us. He's going to see if we're really down in the faith with all these different types of things that we have got very comfortable in Babylon for, right? Babylon is known for its delicacies. Let me get real quick. Revelation chapter um, Revelation chapter 18, and then I'm gonna start verse 10. It says, standing afar off, for fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. So the judgment of Babylon is going to come very quickly, right? In a very short time, not literally 1 hour, but one short space of time, right? That seventh seal being opened and the judgment being placed upon Babylon. So, we want to make sure that we're in a right spirit, because no one's guaranteed salvation. You're not guaranteed being beamed up in these chariots. You're not guaranteed being placed in the kingdom and having rulership and dominion, right? We have to be prepared for the times that we have to come, right? I'm gonna read on. Verse 11 says, and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore, right? People have got rich and prospered off the merchandise of Babylon. People will come and buy and sell from these nations, man. As reading on verse 12, it says, the merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all thine wood and all manner of ivory and all manner vessels of precious wood and of brass and iron and marble and so on and so forth. All of the luxuries. So we're very accustomed to the luxuries that are in Babylon. We're very accustomed to the nice things, you know, the restaurants, the cinemas, the technology, the electricity, the hot water, the central heating, the lights, the cameras, right? The all of these things, right? The cars, the clothes, all of these things that Babylon has, we are very, very comfortable. So don't just think, yeah, the day of the Lord, I can't wait for it to come. Like all of these things that, you know, we're so used to and our luxuries in Babylon can easily be taken away in the times to come and will be taken away in the times to come.
Alright, I think Khan, not the brother back in. Khan, you good? You're back.
Okay, come. So I was saying that we need to make sure we're in the spirit and we know all of these things that are, you know, taking place is because the Most High is going to take all of these luxuries of Babylon away. We have to make sure we're ready. All of these technologies, all of the clothes, all of the cars, all of the luxuries that we have, central heat and hot water, electricity. These are luxuries that are in Babylon. We have to make sure we're ready to actually live without those things, right? That we don't rely on these things. The Most High is going to see where our heart really is when these things are taken away. So we don't want to be that brother or that sister that is saying the day of the Lord, I can't wait for it to come. But you're the same person that when these luxuries are taken away, you don't know what to do. You're confounded. You're crying. You're sad. You don't know what to do with yourself. You know, you lost all faith and all hope because you didn't know things was going to be like this. So you have to kind of bring it out that it's not going to be just all a fine walk into the kingdom. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be trial set before us. There's going to be tribulation. It will say, much tribulation shall we enter into the kingdom. If we've lived our life relatively in luxury in Babylon, what makes you think that you're just going to skip the tribulation part when everyone else had to go through tribulation? This is what the lot of the children of Israel is. I'll get one more and then you go. You go to Acts chapter 14, verse 22. It says, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must through much tribulation enter into the kingdom of Yahweh. So to get into the kingdom, you have to go through tribulation. So even these small, you know, chastisements that we go through, that's just a little thing, man. Right? That's just a small thing. Any, you know, maybe, you know, you lost your job, or, you know, you had to, you know, you lost your wife because you know your wife didn't want to take this truth seriously. You know, whatever it is, these are small things, man. What's gonna happen later on? So you need to make sure we are physically, spiritually, and mentally prepared for what is to come, right? And as we're going to go into, there's famines to come, man. There's great things of tribulation to come, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Khan, and definitely it's definitely important, man, because now we read in the scriptures, we see that, you know, everything again. We might say it 100 times, how many times? All of this is written for our learning. So that when we read in the scriptures, like I'm gonna read in Matthew, start Matthew 24 and verse 16. It says, "Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains," right? So obviously this Christ talking in regards to 70 AD, right? But this is going to be us too. We're going to have to flee from where we are, right? To go to wherever we need to go, right? Wherever the Spirit will lead you, right? It says, verse 17, "Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. So in that day, hey, you're not gonna say, okay, cool, hold on, I left my iPhone, right? I left my iPhone. We gotta go back, right? The Satan 2's flying over. You're saying I left my iPhone. Wait, guys, Salakia, right? You're trying to hold up the whole congregation because you left your iPhone in the back seat of your car in the parking lot, right? You don't want to be that guy, right? You don't want to be, you turn around, now you're dead, right? Now you turn into a pillar of salt, right? It says, verse 18, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. So you're not going to be thinking, okay, cool, hold on. Now, I like this t shirt with those fringes, but I wanted the other one. It's got the gold fringes, right? It's, those are a bit, the fringes are longer. I'm trying to get that, right? You don't want to be that guy, man, right? It says, verse 19, and woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days, right? That's talking about those that are with child, right? Obviously, because in terms of tribulation, right? If you have let's say you have a kid, right? It's gonna be tough for you. It's gonna be really tough because you're gonna have to, that's a lot of maintenance. You have to worry about your wife and your kid, right? So hey, verse 20, it says, but pray that ye, so like here, but pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. Because hey, we've seen what these winters are doing, especially in England, man. Winters are freezing. My brothers are still holding cap, nevertheless, but it's freezing. I imagine now, the day of Jacob's trouble kicks off in the winter. That's going to be long, man, right? It says, it's verse 21, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be, right? So literally, what's gonna come to pass is gonna be something we haven't never experienced. Like we see slavery, you think, okay, that's terrible. Colonization, this is terrible. Hey, the Lord is saying here that what is to come is gonna be something we have never seen, right? Because even when you look at how ancient warfare and how all these things taking place, hey, that's kind of it's kind of mild to what we see today. They kind of had the chariots, and then they kind of got the spears, and then and then the guy got the mace, the bull with the with the mace and that, right? That's then. But now, how people are gonna war is through technology, right? They might send cyber attacks. Right? I'm sure people seen that movie Lead War Behind, where you see they're using cyber attacks. There's many ways a country can be destabilized, right? Nuclear bombs, right? They can even use diseases. They kind of like they did with like the Edomites did, where they kind of sent you a bed sheet with smallpox, and now your people's dead, right? Verse 22, and it says, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened, because those days are going to be, you don't even want it to last long, man. You just want, okay, cool. When will the day end? When will the day end? That's what we're thinking about. You're gonna be thinking, this is crazy. You just want to sleep, close your eyes, and wake up. And that's why you see a lot of I was watching a series, it's called Reach Up, and I was thinking about, I was like, a lot of men that are soldiers, right? They have, or even people that have been countries, war torn countries, they probably struggle to sleep because you're thinking you might wake up dead. Well, you're not gonna. If you're dead, you're not gonna wake up really. But you're thinking, what if someone walks in right now and I'm dead? I'm sleeping, so it is what it is, right? Probably can't sleep. But you're gonna want the days to be shorter, right? You're not gonna say, okay, yeah, well, it's fine, and just no. You're gonna be on high alert, especially you might have the congregation with you, right? You might have your wife with you, your kids with you, right? You got to consider all these things, right? But I'm gonna also go to um Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 10, right? It says this, it says, if thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small, right? Because in that day, you can't be trying to think about saving your auntie, man, right? You can't have that mind. I've got to save everyone. You're just trying to save everyone. Well, hey, that's why Christ has come to divide. You see what I'm saying? It's not a thing of it all kind of, well, hold on, let me get my uncle and my dad and my mom, right? And my two brothers that are in Manchester, right? Let me get them. You're not gonna be thinking about that. So men and sisters and brothers gotta have that mindset to be ready for these times on the earth, right? And I'll land on this point as well. in the book of Zephaniah, right? Because you mentioned that point about like physical assets, right? None of that thing's gonna like those things are not gonna matter, right? You're not gonna be okay. It's Jacob's trouble. Hey, quickly, hey, bring that £10 cash that you had. You know, it's under the bed in the shoebox. It's rolled up in the socks. You're not gonna do that, right? This is Zephaniah 1, and I start from verse 17. And I will bring distress upon men, that they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against the Lord, and their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as the dung. Right, verse 18. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath, but the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy, for he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land. So your silver's not going to save you, right? It's not like the movies where you see like, okay, the guy, he kind of has gold, he's trying to buy his place on the ship, like that's going to save them. You know, like in them flood movies where they kind of have, there's like a ship that like all the elites, they got their thing, right? And then they kind of say, okay, you know, you have to have a special ticket, right? You know, you have to have some sort of money, and that's not going to matter in those days. No one's going to be thinking, okay, cool, let me grab. Don't worry about that. Right? You're supposed to be a pilgrim on the earth. You're supposed to learn to adapt to your surroundings, really. You know, learn to. That's what you should be learning to do. Don't worry about things that are carnal, right? How you gonna? You gotta be able. That's why you got. That's why in Genesis it says that the moon, right, is used for feasts, right? Signs to know. Okay, what day is it? That's how you know. I've been studying that as well. How are you gonna know what time of the month it is? Right, the first day of the month, the new moon, the full moon. How do we analyze that? That's what's gonna be your watch. You ain't gonna be looking. Okay, let me pick up the Android phone and see what time it is. There might not even be any signal or anything. How you gonna know what time it is, right? But can't you got it?
Come on, man. Good point, man. We're not gonna have you know, a PlayStation out there, man. You know, you have to leave and going back. Now you're going back to go get it. You're unplugging it, right? you're hearing bombs and missiles, and I'm trying to put your PlayStation back in the box as you got it, right? Put it back next to in the plastic bags and stuff. You don't have time for that, so you have to have discernment in these times as well, right? Because these last days is no joke. I'm gonna get Second Ezra chapter 16, right, and verse 17. It says, "Woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days?" So like the brother's saying, it's not gonna be silver that's delivering you. So you see a lot of these movies, like you were saying, like 2012, where they all got on that ship, right? And it so-called went to Africa and that, and then it was all good. You know, that's not going to deliver you. The scriptures tell you about these people building these underground bunkers, and it's not going to be saving them, right? Like it says in Revelation 6. Let me get that real quick. So in Revelation chapter 6, verse, I think I want 13. So verse 15. It says, "And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains." So it's prophesied that people are going to be hiding in these things. Is that what's going to save them? Let's read on. It says, "And said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand?" So they're trying to hide from you can't hide from the Lord. There's no there's no precept that says, yeah, this is the hiding spot when you want to hide from the Lord, you know. And it's like some secret hiding spot. You go there and the Lord's not gonna see you. You think if you go underground, the Lord's not gonna see you. Yeah, you won't find me here. I'm underground. You know, you get on the you go to a subway, and you can just freak off because you're in a subway underground, because you can do whatever you want there. It doesn't work like that. The Most High sees underground, overground, any type of ground, man. He made the ground, so you can't hide under it and think you're just gonna run away from it. So even those people that are building those things, that's not gonna make, you can't trust in that. Not say it might not help, for a little while, but you cannot trust in that, because if the Most High wants to find you, he'll find you, right? If the Most High wants to do anything to you, he will do it. It's going back to 2nd Ezra 16, verse 18. It says, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? That's what you have to be thinking about. You don't think about, when these days come, I'm good, and you haven't actually processed what type of spirit you're in first. Don't just, I'm going to be good in those days. Yeah, man. And you haven't even made any mental, physical preparation, right? Any spiritual preparation, which is the chiefest thing. And just say, I'm going to be all right in those days. I can't wait till Yahushua comes back. These times you're sinning, like, frequently, willingly. Like, you need to think what you're going to do in those days, because the Lord is coming back from the righteous. His eyes are upon the righteous. Reading on, verse 19 says, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment, right? Because Babylon needs amending. Our people need fixing. So when it comes to a lot of people, they don't hear us on the streets, man, when we're preaching what we're saying, when we're preaching the gospel, right? They're not hearing that. But when their famines come, they'll hear that, because it says they are scourges for amendment. Let me get the definition of scourges real quick. Right. Scourge. Right. It says a whip used as an instrument of punishment. So just like a child that needs to be punished for not listening, famine is used for not listening as well. When people are not listening to repenting, not listening to the words of the Most High, not listening to the scriptures when they read it, the Most High is going to use famines, and then that's what people are going to actually listen to. That's what people are going to hear, right? This is verse 20. It says, but for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be mindful of the scourges. Meaning people are going to be wicked even in the famines, man. Even in the famines, people are still going to be going off and be like, nah, I'm good. I'm not turning back to the Most High. That's how off people are going to be. And that's why the Most High is making these famines happen. Just like he made the plagues happen in Egypt, he's making these plagues are going to happen, right? Because he's going to show the wickedness of man, that even in famine, man will not repent. Even in being humbled to having no food, have starvation, children suffering, man will still not repent. And to show the pride of man and how pride is the beginning of sin, he's going to take away and make us to where we're forced to be humble, but certain men are still not going to be humble. Reading on, verse 21 says, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. So because things is going to be easily accessible, everyone's going to think, this is actually good. They're going to think this is a blessing. Oh yeah, I can just go there and take this person's food. We don't have to, we're not using money anymore. We can just take it. So now they're thinking, these times are good. So you're going to have wicked people that are thinking about how they can make an opportunity of this famine, how they can go and use this, right, and go into people's houses, man. Verse 22 says, for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine. That's what the scripture's saying. It says that many will perish of famine. So there's going to be people out there that are so wicked, so evil, they're going to end up perishing because of the famine. It says, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. It says people that maybe, some people maybe die of starvation. Some people, they that don't die of starvation. They just get out of it. They find some food somewhere. Instead of saying all praises to the Most High, they're saying, I'm so mighty. Next thing you know, you get hit by some type of weapon and you get destroyed. because you didn't give any honor and praise to the Most High with the things that you found in those times. Right, I'm going to read on. I'm going to go down to verse, let me see, 24. It says, there shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. So you're not going to have anyone that's going to be able to do the mass production of food that we have, right? Because, you know, the food that we get is from like around the world. For example, even these small wars like Ukraine and Russia that was happening, that caused a famine in sunflower oil. Right? You couldn't get sunflower oil for a hot minute because of that war. Because you needed people to actually be tending to the ground in order to make these things. You needed people to be working in the factories in order to get that. So because the world is in this Babylonian system, it's all interlinked with all the exports and imports. People around the world engaged in war, if they're not making anything, you're not getting anything. So if they're involved in war, their place or their hometown, their factory's been bombed, which is what happens in wars. They attack, you know, the infrastructure of the countries, right? To kind of kill people out from within. Then you're not gonna have anything, man. Verse 25. It says, "The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them?" Right? There might be a few trees around, but no one's going to be able to get the things from those trees and then send it to where you're living. Right? You think like you get pineapples, and in England you get pineapples, you know, apples, mangoes, bananas, oranges, pasta, oil, right? All of these things that you see in the so-called grocery store, they're not all from England, man. The things that are from England just about is what? Probably potatoes, right? And that's about it. Think about the stuff that you actually got, where it actually comes from. These countries are going to be engaged in a war. And if they're engaged in a war and they're in their famine as well, then how are we going to get anything? So all of these things, like I was saying, are a luxury. When it comes to time where, you know, stuff gets serious, we're not going to have an access to these things, right? The tree shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? Right? Verse 26, the grapes shall ripe, and who shall tread them? So you're not going to be having wine in those days, most likely. And you're going to be very, I think you're just going to be sipping on wine, man. Or Ray and nephews in a famine, man. Right? It's not going to be as easy as that. It says, for all places shall be desolate of men. All places, man, around the world, for the wars are going to be desolate of men. It says, so that one man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice. I'm going to go down to verse 32. It says, and the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel therethrough. So the earth is going to be, it's not going to be tilled. It's just going to have big fields that are not tended to around the world, because there's no men that's going to be able to be working in those farms or working in those factories. Right, the factories where you get your crisps and stuff is gonna be all dusty, man. And just rats up in there. That's all it's gonna be in those last days. Just rats, foxes, animals of the night are just gonna be crawling and infesting all of these places, because man is gonna leave there. So your favorite, you know, your favorite walkers, your favorite sensations, your biscuits, right? Your McVitie's factories, man, is gonna be all overthrown with rat. No one's gonna be in there to be making your favorite biscuits anymore. Right? You're not gonna get your PG tips. No, wait, where does the sugar come from? All of these luxuries, man. We have to think about electricity, right? I was reading an article earlier saying that Britain, right, has to import electricity from France, right? And it's going to have to continue to import electricity from France. They're not going to be able to import electricity from France in those days. So like brother was saying, you're not going to, you know, you going back to get your iPhone, you know, you're not going to need that. You're not going to need that. You might as well left that where it is. Who you going to call? The Ghostbusters. I'm going to go to Acts, man, chapter 26. I'm going to Acts 26. And then I'm going to get verse. Let me see. Let me get Acts 27, so like on verse 12. It says, and because the haven was not commodious to winter in, the more part advised to depart thence, if by any means they might attain to Phoenice, and there to winter, which is an haven of Crete, and lieth toward the southwest and the northwest. So you have to think about, where we're living in. Is that going to be somewhere that's going to be, enough for you to be able to survive in the winter? You may have to live in the winter, right? And in these times, it's going to be even more difficult to get food. So you have to, be prepared that you got to live that type of lifestyle, man. Yeah, you got it, man.
God, man. And God, that's a good point, man. Preparation. And one of the patriarchs that were excellent, right, in doing so, right? We have Joseph, right? Joseph prepared, right? Because if you see Joseph, he had the understanding of dreams, right? And when we go through that account in Genesis, which I'm going to go through, we see that Joseph, Pharaoh, he told him what he saw in the dream, right? He told him that this is what the dream's about, right? So let's read that. It's a book of Genesis, chapter 41, and I'll start from verse 28. It says, "This is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh, what God is about to do, he showeth unto Pharaoh." Right? It says, "Behold, there cometh 7 years of great plenty throughout the land of Egypt." Right? So that obviously talking about it's gonna be fruitful. Right? Like obviously right now, even you see right now, hey, it's kind of coming to an end. We kind of see that, but these nations, it's been fruitful. They're enjoying it. Yeah, it's good. There's the land is going well. Everything's going well, right? It says verse 30, and it says, "And there shall arise after, right, them 7 years of famine, and all the plenty before Salakia be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and the famine shall consume the land." So in this instance, we had a Pharaoh, right? His dream was told unto Joseph. Joseph said, "Hey, look, this was going to happen, right? You're going to have, a good few years. You're doing your thing, right? But after that, it is famine, right? So you see that, and that's with like pretty much every civilization. It's gone well, right? They've been prospering, and then it just falls off, right? Same thing with what's going on now. You see, okay, it's going well. They're making their foods and that. They're trading. It's perfect. And then what happens now? Now there's disagreements, right? It says here, like, it's showing that there's going to be a famine, and this is Egypt. We're in Egypt right now, right? Verse 31, "And the plenty shall not be known in the land by reason of famine, of that famine following, for it shall be very grievous." Right? So that the famine that took place then was grievous to them, right? To the Egyptians, right? But Joseph, right, he was mighty, right? So then when we go for that account, we see that they found a man to be set over the land, which was Joseph, right? And this is what Joseph done. I'll jump down to verse 35. It reads, "And let them gather all the food," because Joseph told them, "Hey, this is what you should do as well." Right? It says verse 35, "And let them gather all the food of those good years," because they prepared. Right? Obviously you see in the movies the guy, he's kind of buying, big bottles of water, right? His tablets, all them things, certain things you would need, right? For just preparing for that kind of day, right? Buys water and all that kind of stuff, right? It says, "And let them gather all the food of those good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities." Verse 36, "And that the food shall be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through famine." Right? So obviously they prepared, they had preparation, right? Obviously, like in terms of our preparation, mainly should be the spiritual side of things, building up your spirit, right? To not be able to like fasting. That's how you build up your spirit to endure times to come, the times to come. That's how you build it up. You fast, you won't eat for a certain period of time. That's how you build up your spirit, right? Physically as well as spiritually, right? And it says, verse 37, and the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of all his servants, right? So when you read that account, you'll see that it was Joseph, right, that was actually set up, right? Joseph, he gathered the corn. When you read that Genesis 41, he said he's the one that gathered the corn and literally prepared, right, the land, right, for them to be able to prosper, quote unquote, or to survive through that famine, right? We have to have that same mentality spiritually, right, when it comes to digesting the word. Right? We have to be able to build. Okay, we know that these times are to come, right? Perilous times are to come. We're supposed to prepare ourselves for that time. That's what it's all about, preparing yourself for the day of the Lord, right? Okay, go to another point as well, right? Because obviously, even with, I got a couple sources that I want to pull up to you, right? In regards to how we know that there is definitely a famine coming, right? Therefore, a famine coming. Right, I have got the point still. Let me get it. Khan, go to Ecclesiastes. Look at the book of Ecclesiastes, man. Chapter. I'm gonna start just the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, and I'll start from verse number 1. It says, "Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them." Right. So while we're still able, right, to exist on this earth, right, as we are today, we should remember the Creator, right? Before those days come, it says, verse 2, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. Right, verse 3, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. Right? Going into how you're going to see a lot of these factories, and they're going to start shutting down. Right? They're going to start saying, ah, we saw that happen during COVID, right? A lot of us that are in the UK, but even in America, you're trying to buy toast, you're rushing to the Tesco. Now Black Friday has become just the whole month, that whole period of COVID. You're going to the Tesco, you're scrambling, trying to pull the bread out of the other Jake's hand, right? That's what happened. That was what happened. That is literally what was happening to Salakia, man. Right? It says, verse 4, and the door shall be shut in the streets. Right? Yeah, Asda. You're gonna try in that day, you're gonna try to run to Asda. You're pulling the door, you're yanking it, you're trying to get into the Asda. The Asda's closed, man, and you're trying to pull a door that's a damn it slides open. You're trying to pull it open, man. Right? It says, and the door shall be shut when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Because Babylon's not going to be singing no more, man. Babylon's not going to be thriving. It's going to be quiet, right? Because everyone's they stopped the trading, right? You see what's going on in that Red Sea area, right? Literally, what the UK, right? From my understanding, why they're even bombing them is because they're affecting the the trading, because there's stuff that passes through that route to get to the other side of the world, right? They pass through there, and the Houthis, they're actually kind of what ship is that? That's got through there. Let's take that, blow that up. That's what they're doing. They're disrupting that. So you can see, right? The Bible is actually prophesying what is going on, right? So let me get as well another precept. That's a book of Revelation, chapter. Start from Revelation. I'll start from Revelation 18 and verse. I'll start from 4, right? The classic, right? It says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues, right? Because you want to come out of this carnal way, right? Because then you want to experience, when these famines come, you're not going to be saying, I should have got Costco. You're not going to be thinking that. You're going to be saying, all right, all praises to Yahweh Shemi Shai, right? We've been preparing for this day. But it's like when you're getting ready for it's kickoff now. You've been training, you've been in the gym, you've been doing your reps, push, and then Now it's time to put that to the test. That's what it's all about, right? Being built up for that day, right? And I jumped down to verse 10. It says, standing afar off. Now let me start from verse 11, Salakia, right? It says, and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. Because what's happening now? Hey, no one's trading with them. No one's trading with these nations in the West. They're saying, we don't want to deal with you, not man. We don't want to deal with these guys, man. Let's go to Russia. Let's go to the other side, right? And what do you think's gonna happen here? Okay, it's shortage of food, right? And I remember seeing one picture. It was like a so-called satellite showing the ships that were waiting to go deliver food, and it seemed like it was a thing of being done on purpose to not allow people to actually eat, right? So if they can do that, okay, they just say, guys, okay, no one bring the ships in. They don't. So imagine that in reality now. Imagine that in the time where we don't have the time to prepare. You ain't been fasting. And if you're not fasting, you're not gonna make it. If you're not fasted, you are not gonna make it, right? You should be, we fast, at least minimum once a week, right? Obviously, my feast days, but fasting, hey, that's something that's preparing you slowly but surely. Some of us might do more, some of us might, be building up to get to that point, but you should be fasting, right? It says, verse 12, the merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all thine wood and all manner vessels of ivory and all manner vessels of most precious wood and of brass and of iron, marble, cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil, fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men. Right? No one's trading, right? And those souls of men, right, and the slaves. That's talking about the Israelites, right? Because we're the ones that have been sold, right? But it's literally showing you how no the these things are going to be ceasing. The countries are not trading with each other no more, right? Like you were saying, I think you're saying about, correct me if I'm wrong, so like you said about Britain borrowing energy. How do you borrow energy? Like I said, imagine, Zachariah, you might not have electricity. I kind of run with Wolfenstein, give you my card and my little key card. You put your in the machine. That's mad. How you gonna borrow energy? You see what I'm saying? This place is just confusion, right? But let me pull up some one more verse, and I'm gonna pull up some things, right? Because we know, and this is how we know who Esau is, man. This is another point of how we know who Esau is, right? We get that in the book of Genesis. Go to Genesis chapter 27, right? Go to Genesis 27, right? Because Esau, he got a quote unquote blessing, if you want to say that, right? So, book of Genesis chapter 27 and 38, I start from. And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept, right? So Esau, he been having that Karen spirit, man, right? He kind of starts crying. Oh, what about me? He's in the corner. Jacob's probably there, like he was, he stood firm. You probably watching, kind of laughing, right? Right? And it says, verse 39, and Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of the heaven from above. Right? So who's owning the land, man? Who owns the land today? Does Jake own, like, can Jake, right, start buying certain states, like, the land is, Jake can't do that. We don't have the money to do that. We don't, okay, Zachariah, let's put our money together, let's get that. And we don't have that, man. We don't have that ability. But you see who? And there's a certain person on the earth today, right? And let me put it up, right? Because it's always important, man, right? So take a look at this, right? This is land owned by none but himself, right? Mr. Bill Gates, right? So you can see here all the land that Bill Gates, right? And it's funny, this is the same thing that applies to Esau having the fat of the land, right? It says, You know, he's got Washington, right? 16,000 acres. Idaho, 9,000 acres, right? California, 4,000. Arizona. Why does this man own so much of the land? Right? What do you think he's trying to do? What is he just trying to? Yeah, he's gonna build a Neverland like Michael Jackson, and he's gonna bring all the Israelites. Is he gonna do that? No, this man is obviously trying to, he's trying to implement something, man. Right? You know, they have their agendas. You know, you want to buy food and all this kind of, turn the food into, GMOs, right? All that fake food. That's what they be doing. They want to, that's what it says. They're gonna have the fatness of the land, but they've defiled the land, right? They're not prospering when they have the land. That's why they're making. And I'm gonna pull up some videos, right? We can see what they want to do with the food, and why we as the Israelites have to prepare, right? So let me switch my screen because I got a few videos to pull up. I think it'll be very good. All right. Let me get this one first. All right. So and Esau's confusion. He'll try and say, "Oh, we have to do this because of climate change." Right? And it's them that be in the big jets, private jets, right? There's 3 man in there and the pilot, and they say, okay, climate change. All right. And they try and use all these numbers, try and say, okay, yeah, you're using 25% of the fossil fuels, you're gonna destroy the planet. Right? And then Bill Gates, he's got the private jet for him and himself because his wife left him. Right? uh I want to show the point where they start going into the food, right? Because in their food, they're trying to implement and they say, okay, cool, we're gonna give you insects. You're gonna have a reducing meat consumption. That's it. Reducing meat consumption would also have benefits for water quality and quantity. But the Lord, every animal, even us, we have a purpose. So they're gonna say, okay, cool, hey, get rid of the food, right? You can't, instead of let's say, so imagine it's the Passover now. Instead of, okay, it's actually the Passover, you sacrifice it. There's no blood coming out of the Passover because it's a 3D printed lamb. There's no blood coming out of the Passover because it's 3D printed, right? So they're trying to say if we reduce, our meat consumption, right? And anyway, you should have a righteous balance. Right? It should just be stuff in your face all the time, right? But you should have a righteous balance. But anyway, right? So they're trying to just confuse it. I'm gonna show some points where they're making. They got this funky food that they're trying to get people to eat, and you got Esau saying, yeah, I don't mind that. That's perfectly fine, right? Let me get this. The future of foods, because I've got a few points, man. Because some of the stuff that they be saying is just complete madness, right? Look at this. Look at this. So obviously, they have 2030 agenda. I'm sure everyone must know. You might take a look at that, right? 8 predictions for the world in 2030, right? You'll own nothing and you'll be happy, right? Right? Whatever you want, you'll rent and it'll be delivered by drone. Yeah, we know that the US is not going to be the world superpower because they're going to be destroyed, right? Let's get to this point. You won't die waiting. Look at this madness. Right, here's the point. You'll eat much less meat, right? And okay, why is Esau imposing? He's imposing what you're gonna have. What, hey, Zachariah? That's too much. Imagine you're at the feast day, and I'm saying, no, that's not for you. This is yours. And I put down some insects that are not even clean, right? So there's certain agendas that Esau has, man, right? Let me get this, man. Salaki, I'm kind of going off a bit, but there's a few things that I saw, like, because I know, when you read into these agenda things, you'll understand, this whole thing of buying land, what the purpose of it is. That's why we have to be, prepare yourselves, man.
Of animal-based proteins across the food sector.
So look at
One
this.
company in Switzerland is looking to lower its carbon footprint by introducing insects as their flagship sustainable superfood product.
My name is Jean-Yves Coindet. I'm owner of Entomos. We are selling food product made with edible insect.
Right. So he's also selling food products, right? So imagine you go to go to I don't know, any sort of meat shop, right? Now what's that made out of? It's made out of damn I don't even know, a beetle. You say what? You could be confused, right? And it's always Switzerland or one of these funny places, man.
In Switzerland, 3 types of insects are allowed. These are the mealworms, the crickets, and the locust. The insects, they don't have a strong taste. The advantage is that you can marry it with a lot of different ingredients. Entomos, we are producing snacks, for example, chips or tortillas. We are also producing flour, which can be used for a bakery. We are also producing a flexi burger, which is a burger made 50% of mealworms and 50% made of beef.
While using a sustainable product is important for the environment,
So I hope everyone gets the idea, man. Is that you see that Esau is literally, printing. They're gonna start printing meats, 3D print burgers, right, and all this kind of stuff, man. But Kanye, you got it, man. Yeah, Kanye, you got it. You got it. You got it. You got it.
See, that's my brother was saying. We gotta look at the devices that Esau is really putting in, and all of his intentions, because the Most High told us to watch. If we're not watching and understanding those things that are going on, then we're gonna be very far behind. We're not gonna have the right equipment and tools for the race that we're in. So we have to watch. You got to look at the trends. If you're doing a 100-meter race, you wanna go to the shop and make sure you get the right footwear. Otherwise, you're gonna get left behind. And you just turn up in your Air Force Ones, man. Everyone else is in spikes. You're gonna get left, right? I'm gonna get Psalms 111 because these things, like the brother was saying, these famines, and they're trying to get the land, right? That's gonna be reserved for the righteous. This is Psalms 111, verse 4. He hath made his wonderful works to be remembered. The Lord is gracious and full of compassion. So when the world is hit by these famines, the Most High is going to be gracious and compassionate for his children. He loves his children. He loves his people. So he's not going to have them suffering. If they have grace in his eyesight. But so my point, brother was saying we have to be fasting. One of the main or one of the principal reasons we should fast is because in the last days we're going to have to fast, whether you like it or not. You're going to be in famine. You're going to need to be without food and drink. You're going to need to know what that's like. If you're not doing that now, how are you going to be ready? So that's one way that we need to make sure that we are getting physically and even spiritually ready and mentally ready by fasting. So that if you have to fast or not eat, let's say, during these times of famine, it's not a big thing for you. It's something you normally do. And then you're not going to lose hope and lose faith because you're not having any food. This is things that Paul had to go through. Right? Paul had to go through many days of fasting when he was out there on the ship, man. And he got shipwrecked. This is verse 5. It says, he have given meat unto them that fear him. He will ever be mindful of his covenant. Right? Because the covenant is that if you keep the commandments, you're going to be what? Blessed. If you break it, you're going to be cursed. That's when you're going to feel it. Everyone's saying, We don't have to keep the law anymore. You know, we're under grace. We're going to see in that day who actually fears the Most High and is keeping the covenant. Because if you're hungry and, you know, you're starving to your death, you know, because the one time you did get an opportunity of food, it was pork, and you ate it because you thought, yeah, I could just eat it anyway. You're going to see whether keeping the law actually helps you or not in that day. So you can, as Christians, you know, you can fool yourself as much as you want. But in that day of famine, we're going to see who the Lord really is looking upon, who the Lord actually is considering as keeping his covenant. Say, well, oh, we're under the new covenant. We're going to see in that day, man, what we're under, and whether we fear the Lord, and whether that means you keep the commandments when you fear the Lord. I'm going to go precept real quick in Sirach chapter 1, verse 26. Sirach chapter 1, verse 26. It says, if thou desire wisdom, keep the commandments, and the Lord shall give her unto thee. For the fear of the Lord is wisdom and instruction, and faith and meekness are his delight. So the fear of the Lord, you have to is about being instructed, right? About keeping the Torah. That's the fear of the Lord, right? You are not going to want to be punished by the Most High, so you want to be blessed, obviously. So therefore, you keep the commandments. If you want wisdom, you keep the commandments, right? If thou desire wisdom, keep the commandments. That's verse 26, right? And the fear of the Lord is wisdom. So if you want to know how to fear the Lord, or the fruit which shows that you fear the Lord, is keeping the commandments. I'm going to get another precept in Acts 26, verse 20. Right? Because, yes, you need faith. And faith is important. Like it says, faith is his delight. But you need to be doing the works as well, man. It's Acts 26, verse 20. It says, but showed first unto them of Damascus, and at Jerusalem, and throughout all the coast of Judea, and then to the Gentiles, that they should repent and turn to the Most High, and do works meet for repentance. So we're going to say, yeah, you know, it's just faith, faith, faith. You know, don't have to have no works. No, you're going to have to put in your works. It's not just going to be you believing in that day. It's going to be you showing that you believe in that day. Are you going to keep that faith in the situations that are presented to you? Right? You show your faith through your works. So in that day, when you have temptations and you have trials, right, which require you to lose faith, you have to opt for the situation that is going to show that you still have faith in the Most High, right? If someone is trying you, is tempting you to get you out of the spirit, you have to opt for righteousness, man. Right? So you need to make sure that we are bearing the spirit of the Most High in these situations. I'm going to get Psalms chapter 37, verse 3. It says, trust in the Lord and do good, and thou shalt dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. So if you trust in the Most High, if you have faith and you're keeping the law, right, you will be fed. So he gives meat unto those that fear him. If you trust in the Most High, you're keeping the law, you're having faith in the word of God and the Most High, then you are going to be fed. So everyone, I'm going to get Isaiah chapter 65 as well. Everyone is going to be suffering that doesn't trust in the Most High. But those that do, they're going to be fed. It's Isaiah 65, verse 13. It says, therefore, thus saith the Lord God, behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Right? It says, my servants. So people that are serving him, the Israelites, that are keeping the commandments, that are having faith in those days, that have endured, that have overcome and kept the works to the end, they're going to be fed. If you trust in the Most High, you will be fed. If you lose faith and you say, oh no, all hell is breaking loose, what will I do? Like the brother was saying, you're trying to go back to get your iPhone. Like, you're trying to get what? To do what with it? To connect to what? To charge where? You have to be ready to live without these things. If you got if you make your phone your God, what are you gonna do? you're in, you're in you're in Jacob's trouble, and you're getting traumatized because you think you're getting notifications, but you're not. You don't know what to do because you think the iPhone's going off and it's not there. It's at home, getting destroyed. And then now you're getting worried. Now you get like flinching, man, like Smokey when you when you was with them essays, man. Now you're flinching because you think, oh, I'm getting a notification. No, you're not, man. You can't be addicted to these things. Think, oh, I need to go. Oh, I miss my PlayStation, man. I miss my favorite music artist, my Spotify. What about my Spotify? You have to be able to let these things go, right, and not lose hope. Let me get Acts as well, chapter 27, verse 20. Right, because it is very easy to lose hope. Acts 27, verse 20 says, and when neither sun nor stars in many days appeared, and no small tempest lay on me, all hope that we should be saved was then taken away. See that? So it's easy to lose hope, man. To lose hope that the Most High is going to save you. And it's easy to just, it's relatively easy to just talk about it right now. But in that day, we're going to see who's really serious. As I was saying, everyone's waiting for the day of the Lord. Everyone's waiting to, yeah, Putin, yeah, man, do what you have to do. Everyone's saying, yeah, Putin, do what you have to do. Are you ready for that? You have to really question that. Is your spirit in the right place to be able to live in those days where war and destruction and famine is on the earth, and you are possibly going to be by yourself? Just going to be you, yourself, and I. And it's going to be very difficult for you to live, right? You're not going to have the food and the luxuries that you thought you would always have. It's not going to be as easy as that. Yeah, destruction comes, your Yahushua comes and then saves you in by tomorrow. It's all going to be done by the end of January, and in February you're going to be in the kingdom. It's not that easy. No one's ever told. I don't know who's ever told you or fooled you into thinking that in February 2024 you're going to be in the kingdom, right? Like, no one knows the day, man. Right? So you can't just say, yeah, it's going to happen this time and then I'm going to be in the kingdom. Everything's going to be good. We have to go through much tribulation, right? These seals have to be open, right? I'm going to go back to Psalms 37 real quick. Right. Psalms 37, verse 4. It says, delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. So if our delight is in the Most High, he's going to give us our desires, right? So maybe in that day, you may be starving, thirsty, cold, right? Lonely. If you have a sincere heart and you're praying to the Most High in a humble spirit, you're trying to do whatever you can do, then the Most High will give that to you. He'll feed you with whatever you need to be fed with. He'll give you drink with whatever you need to drink. Right? He'll give you clothes. He'll give you warmth if that's something you're lacking in. You have to trust in the Most High that he's going to provide. If you lose hope, and then you start looking at your brother that you see, and then he has those things and you're stealing from him, you just lost hope right there. You didn't believe the Most High would actually provide for you. So you decided to go and take it out on your own accord. Just like we read in Paul and in Acts, Paul and the people on that ship, the sun and the stars were required for them to know. Them being on the ship, there was no Google Maps, man. There was no Waze. Oh yeah, let me just check Waze and type in the location. They didn't have that. So they needed the sun and the stars for direction. But because it was constantly cloudy and windy and stormy, they weren't able to see that to then be able to know where they're going. That was extremely worrying for them. So just like the sun and the stars is used for direction, you're not gonna have, Google Maps in that day. Oh, you left your iPhone at home, or your Samsung. You left that, so you're not gonna be able to go out using that. okay, yeah, let me just, you might be in a forest somewhere. Oh yeah, you think you got your phone on you again. You tap in your pocket. Ah, damn. And you start crying. You just get on your knees and just start crying because you lost your phone. These times, the Most High is through the Spirit trying to guide you and direct you to a particular place, but you're not trying to hearken. You're not trying to listen because your God is your Apple phone. All right. So we have to make sure we put away these gods, man. I'm gonna get one last one. You got it in Genesis chapter 31. In verse let me see, verse 29. It says, it is in the power of my hand to do you hurt, but the God of your father spake unto me yesternight, saying, take thou heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good or bad. Right. So this is Laban, he's chasing down his daughters, right, saying that God spake to him. Right. So the God spake to him to say, don't do Jacob any good or bad. Verse 30 says, and now though thou wouldest needs be gone, because thou so longest after thy father's house, yet wherefore hast thou stolen my gods? So he's gone down and he's chased Rachel and Leah and Jacob, right, for because God said, you know what, don't do these men any hurt. But he's gone and he's asked them for his gods. So the Most High spoke to him, but he's gone to go get some other gods, right? And that's the spirit that you don't want to be in. The Most High spoke to you, but really you're lusting after these other gods, right? We've understood the things of the scriptures, the prophecies, what's going to happen in these last days. But really in that day, you're going to be envying and lusting for these other things, man. For these things that you really are your gods. So some people, they say that they love God. They say that they worship and serve the Most High, but they have these other gods on the side. And they're the ones they kind of are fornicating with. So these, and all of these luxuries, all of the technology of Babylon, we can't make that our God. That's what these things are made here for. We have to get out of that mindset. We're using these things, but not abusing them. Right? One more. 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 30. It says, and they that weep as though they wept not, and they that rejoice as though they rejoice not, and they that buy as though they possess not. That's what you have to be like. When you buy things, don't think, that's mine now. You know, this belongs to me. You know, if someone takes it from me, then, you know, that's the end. That's you know, there's that saying, people say, if something bad happens, oh, it's not the end of the world. Well, we're looking for the end of the world, man. Right? This is verse 31. It says, and they that use this world as not abusing it, for the fashion of this world passeth away. All of these things are to pass away. You can't be used to these things that, you know, get you by, get you around. These things, we're using these things. Don't let these things, you know, be using you, man. Right? Yeah, you will.
Yeah, I can't. And even that on that point, like, I'll pull up on my screen, right? We're supposed to be a plain, and plain not like we're boring, but plain in the sense of perfection, innit? Right? In the book of Genesis 25 and verse 27, it says, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, right? And Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents, right? And when you go into that word plain, right? Let me see this. Right, look, so we're perfect or complete, right? One who lacks nothing in physical strength, right? Complete, morally innocent, having integrity. So we don't, and it says dwelling in tents. So we weren't okay. We're just kind of rolling around in the mud. You know what I'm saying? Just doing whatever, like Esau. You were playing. So we have to have that same spirit, man, as our forefather Jacob, right? Being complete, right? Being and moving in these times of perilousness, being plain and complete, even without technology, with or without it, right? But can't. Because that the brother was saying, like fasting, hey, that's an important thing, right? Defo is an important thing, right? And you defo gotta be fasting to that's like an Israelite 101, right? Like they say Revelation 13 and 10, Isaiah 14, hey, that's the 101, right? Romans 9 and 3. Hey, fasting is an Israelite 101, for your spirit, right? So this is the book of Ezra, chapter 8. I'll read verse 21. It says, Then I proclaimed a fast there at the river Avahar, that we might afflict ourselves before Yahweh, to seek of him a right way for us and for our little ones and for all our substance, right? Because that's what's gonna happen in the wilderness. You might have to fast. You might have a little something. Hey, let's fast. Right? Yahweh might, he might lead us to where the food is at, or lead us to a place of safety. Because that's what the fasting's for, to afflict yourselves, right? Kind of like putting the sackcloth on your head, like you have in the Day of Atonement. That's affliction, right? To build up the spirit, right? It might lead you to the right place, the right direction where you need to get. You might have kind of all these nations trying to destroy you, destroy each other, right? What are you gonna do? Okay, let's fast. We pray, because through fasting and prayer, that's how you're gonna be delivered, right? But I can't. Also had a precept here in a book of Proverbs. I'm gonna hold that. Right. I'm gonna go to Hebrews, because a lot of this is faith as well. You gotta have faith. Yeah, you have to have faith and works. We know that. You read James 2. Can't just say, right? And we walk them down Wednesdays, man. Right? Brother Benaiah cutting up these Christians saying, okay, yeah, I have the Holy Spirit and all etc., as they love to say, but they don't want to do what God says, right? So we're walk them down Wednesdays. You have to have faith and works, man. Right? It's the book of Hebrews, chapter 11 and 24. I'll start from, right? It says, by faith Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. So Moses, he said, no, I can't be around them, man. They're not even my people, right? You can't be around those of the world, right? You can't be like that's you shouldn't want to, obviously watch your time with a sinner, right? You might, kind of be a light to a Gentile, right? Which would be an Israelite, right? To show them, okay, look, this is, and they might get into this thing, right? It says, verse 26, it says, esteeming the reproach of Hamashiach greater riches than the treasures in Egypt, for he had respect unto the recompense of the reward, right? So it's showing you that it was better for us to press towards the mark, right? Of following what the Most High has said to the Israelites, right? Just like we have this mindset of choosing to follow the Most High rather than to say, okay, cool, let's go be a Greek. We're not trying to be Greeks again, man. Right? It says and remember it says esteeming the reproach of Christ greater riches than the treasures in Egypt, because we're in Egypt as well today, and they put in front of you, okay, hey, you wanna make it in this life, and they kind of put, okay, here's this. They give you everything you need to destroy yourself, right? You think in that time the record label is going to be saying, okay, yeah, come with us to the bunker, and if you're going to the bunker, hey, what's going on? They're going to start putting you in a sandwich like they done to little baby, right? They're hugging you from the front and the back in the bunker, right? Like, that's what's going to happen, man. When you want to, that's literally what they're going to be doing, man, right? Is this verse 27? It says, by faith he forsook, by faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible. right? So he said, hey, forget this, man. Forget what's going on right now. I'm not trying to be with the Egyptians. He said, let me follow what the Lord said. And that's what we need to do, follow what the Lord said before all this wrath comes, man. Right? Verse 28. It says, through faith he kept the Passover and the sprinkling of blood, lest he that destroyed the firstborn should touch them. Because if he didn't, you would have gone too, man. And that's what's gonna happen. Because those are going to be spiritually ready when that time comes. You're not going to be okay. You're not going to be scared, right? You ever seen what's that? There's a movie, some superhero movie, right? And it's I think it's called What is it? It'd be funny because I think it's called Watchmen. One of those like superhero things in that, or whatever. Yeah, it's called Watchmen actually. Kind of funny still. And then at the end of it, right, they show like there's like a nuclear blast, and then you see people. They kind of, some people are holding on to each other, some people are shook. Something there's always been this guy, and I think he's one of the superheroes, right? Quote unquote, Rorschach, right? I think he's been walking around, or there's some old man walking around with the end is nigh on his little cardboard box and that. Some people kind of expecting it. They knew this was happening. Some people they don't care. It's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna be confounded. Be like, oh, rah, them guys were really saying it, and it's too late. Boom, now you're an atom. Now you're just an atom, right? The McDonald's is destroyed. You're just an atom. You were just okay. I really wanted that iPhone. Now you're just air, right? But Carl, let me go to it as well in second. This book is Second Ezra, and I'll start from verse Second Ezra 16, and I'll start from verse 17. Right? It's like I'll start from 16 actually. It says, like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer, returneth not backward. Right? So meaning when the Lord says something's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. He's not gonna say, okay, he's kind of about to destroy. Let me chill. Right? It's gonna happen, man. It says, like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer, returneth not backward. Because like when Putin or one of these countries shoot a missile, I don't gonna say, hold on, can I reverse it, bring it back. That thing's going, right? It says, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon earth shall not return again. Right? It says, verse 17, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? Right? It's not going to be Bill Gates, right? It's not going to, for sure, it's not going to be TD Jakes, man. He's not going to deliver. He's not going to say, okay, he's walking across the stage in his purple long dress and he's saying, oh, swallowed. And now he's delivered you. And you're saying it back. You're saying amen. And you jibber jabber tongues. Right? He's not going to deliver you, right? Because the Lord's going to deliver us. That's what we're hoping for, right? Verse 18, it says, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Hey, what should we do? Hey, we should be fearing God, right? Faith in Christ and keep the commandments. It's plain. It's plain. It's not, it's very plain, man, right? It says, verse 19, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. It's sent for change. These things are sent to change, to create a change in the system, because Esau is the end and Jacob is the beginning, right? These things are sent to it's a refresh, right? It says, verse 20, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor always be mindful of the scourges, right? So some people, they're going to see these things happen. Well, Putin sent a bomb. Yeah, I got a Benz, and you're trying to still trying to hit lick shots, and the war's about to end, right? You want to be that guy. You do not want to be that guy, man. But Khan, you got it.
Man. You don't want to let the doctrines of Esau just swallow you up. You have to go to the scriptures. It says Isaiah chapter 8, verse 21. It says, and they shall pass through it, hardly, bested, and hungry. And it shall come to pass that when they shall be hungry, they shall fret themselves. People in the famine, they're going to fret themselves, right? They're going to be worried, confounded, dismayed, astonished, surprised, shocked, flabbergasted, gobsmacked. They're going to be overwhelmed, right? Because they're not ready for that. The majority of people, living in the luxuries of Babylon the Great, living all around the world. They're not ready for those type. Even in Islam, they have this so-called fast, but they don't fast, according to how the scriptures are saying. They do their own thing. It says they shall fret themselves and curse their king and their God, and look upward, and they shall look unto the earth, and behold trouble and darkness, dimness of anguish, and they shall be driven to darkness. That's deep, man. People are going to be driven to darkness because in that time they're going to be cursing the Most High, because they serve really another god or other gods, but people think they serve the Most High, and people think that they're Christian. There's people that they're celebrating Christmas, celebrating Easter. They got a cross around their neck and doing, and God knows what, in the darkness. The Lord said they're going to be driven to darkness because they're doing evil things in the darkness, bringing just folly to the scriptures, man. Bringing an evil lifestyle to this to holiness, and just trying to paint over it with the cross that's around your neck or the scriptures that are in your Instagram bio. That doesn't make you righteous. That doesn't make you allow you to get through famine, right? And I might be wrong, but I haven't seen Christians ever talk about this famine, man, that's gonna come. So a lot of Christians, they're gonna be thinking, well, if you're really God, why are we going through this? I thought it was all meant to be living good. They're gonna be confounded. So we have to go to the scriptures and history and how much this has been declared of old. Like the brother was saying, even from Egypt, there was famines, right? Abraham had to experience famine. Right? This is normal, man. Look at Sirach chapter 39, because this is normal. Right? This is what we're trying to say. Like, don't be surprised. This has been pre-warned, like, for generations and generations, not just this generation. This has been happening from the beginning. All right, it's a Sirach chapter 39. Let's start verse 28. Let's start verse 29. It says, fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. So when were they created? They weren't created in 2024. They were created from the beginning. Right? The Most High created these things for vengeance, because when He created the light, then there had to be darkness. When He created the things that were needed for us to live and for us to be good by and be set by, He had to create things for those who didn't obtain the righteousness, what they would be rewarded with as well. You had to give the wages of righteousness, and you had to give the wages of death. Right? So famine was created for vengeance. So the Most High is angry at this land. We can't just, if we know the Most High is angry against the ways of this world, how do you think it's going to end? They have to receive the wages, right? Fire has to happen, right? And it will. Hail, famine, and death has to happen, because this is what you reap is what you sow, right? And because of the famine that's been reaped, because they've stolen food from us, man. Right? They used us to make food for them. So the Most High is going to take away their food and feed the righteous. Right? And they're going to know how it feels, how we felt on those plantations, man. Right? They're going to know how, those that are around, dispersed around the four corners of the earth, who they've afflicted, they're going to know how it feels to be afflicted, man. When we were eating chitlins and hogmaw, right? Pig's intestines and tripe, cow's intestines and having that in soup and indulging in it, thinking that was a luxury and a delicacy. Oh, thank you, boss. Thank you, master, for the nice pig's intestines. I'll eat that and get right back to work. When we were indulging in that, and they was eating the fine cuts of the steak, right? The T-bone, the filet mignon. Jake's not having a filet mignon, man. Right? Jake's having chitlins, man, out there. Are you not having the finest cuts? Are you having right, the cow foot? These Edomites were eating venison, man. Right? There's no venison in the end, man. Right? You find that in Esau's area because he's got the fatness of the earth, but you don't go, to the corner shop in the council estate and they're selling venison. Right? That's not for us. But guess what? In famine, the righteous, we're going to be eating well, man. Those said, verily thou shalt be fed. Right? So famine, these vengeance, we shouldn't be worried about it because this famine is made for vengeance. This famine is made for the wicked. This famine is made to punish those who are evil. So we should not be worried about it because the righteous, the faithful, are going to be able to get through it. They're going to be fed with what is needful for them. All right, I'm going to go down to verse 33. It says, all the works of the Lord are good. Right? All the works. Right? The evil that happens is good. The blessings that happens is good. They're all good. The most high is good. Right? As it says in Matthew 19, verse 16 and 17. Right? There is none good but one, and that is Yahweh. So he's good. So all of these things, when we think famine, there's going to be people that think famine, oh no, what do I do? Oh, there is no God. I think, was it camp, not too long ago, a couple of days ago, and this guy came up to us. Yeah, that I don't know what he was, whether he was Russian or something, but I just know he came up to us and it said that why is God allowing young babies to be killed? He was very aggressive. He's like, yeah, I came out of prison, and I just want to know why God's allowing these young innocent babies to be killed. And he's mad at us about it. Like he wanted to do something to us because of that. But, that's he's got to take that up with the Most High first and foremost. Right? But like it says in verse 33, all the works of the Lord are good. So even if, like it says in verse 29, fire, hail, famine, and death, all these were created for vengeance. So, all of these works are actually good, right? Fire is good, right? Because in order for us to have a kingdom in the kingdom of heaven, fire and hail, famine, and death, all of these things need to come to pass so that we can be in a position where things can be renewed. The verse 33, it says, all the works of the Lord are good, and he will give every needful thing in due season. So when it's our season to be fed, we're going to be fed. When it's our season to go through tribulation, we're going to go through tribulation. It's needful. Even famine is needful for us to go through that. We need to get in the spirit where we can actually hope and groan and cry out for the Lord. Because we're too comfortable right now as a nation. We're living all right. This is why this time is actually where we're living okay, is to allow us to build the temple up. The Most High is really stopping these forces and Satan and these demons from really getting onto this world, because it's like we need to build up this nation, man. Right? This is I'm gonna get Proverbs chapter 30 and verse 25. There's Proverbs chapter 30 verse 25. It says that ants are a people not strong, yet they prepare their meat in the summer. Like I was saying, this time right now is that summertime because we are in a relative time where we're not in that famine. Because winter is like a famine in itself. It's a time where there's no food, there's no crops growing, right? It's relatively a famine, and you'd have our forefathers would take the harvest after the summer and store it up so that we had enough for the winter. That's the purpose of a harvest. So right now, coming up to that harvest time of knowledge, right, where the knowledge and wisdom is just growing and growing right now, right, we're able to understand so much of what's going on in this life, and what's going on in this world, and more importantly, what's going on in these scriptures. All of the things that are in the world, they're being uncovered. Wisdom and knowledge is increasing in the last days. We're finding out who's fake, who's real, right, who's been lying, who's been manipulating the world. All of these conspiracy theories that were once called conspiracy theories, we're seeing what's factual and what was not factual. We're starting to see what's actually going on, right? This is the time of that harvest of knowledge, where in that summertime, just like an ant prepares its meat in the summer, we got to prepare ourselves right now. This is wisdom. The Lord said, go to the ant now sluggard, because some people are slothful and they're not thinking about using this time period to actually build themselves up. And we get that in Proverbs 6, verse 6. Great. Right, it says, go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. So look at how an ant provides for itself, right, and gets its meat and gets its food during the summertime to prepare for the wintertime. It makes preparation, right? If you're getting comfortable, all you're thinking about is work, 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 right? You're not Rihanna, man. Get into the scriptures, man. You have to go and look at what an ant is doing. It prepares itself, right? Verse 25, I'm going to read again. It says that ants are a people. Actually, I'm going to read some verse 24. It says, there be 4 things which are little upon the earth, but they are exceeding wise. Right? This is one of those things that are wisdom. Also, tells us we need to have wisdom. Verse 25, the ants are a people not strong, because our strength as well is not within us. It's within the Most High, and the fact that we're moving according to the seasons. And right now we're in the season where we need to build ourselves up in knowledge. We need to build up that spiritual understanding and the understanding of the prophecies, what's going to happen and what's going to come to pass. Not being indulged in the things of this world, whether it's work, whether it's idolatry, sin, all of that. That's not our priority right now. Our priority needs to be that we can, because yeah, your priority is your family, but you want to know how you're going to lead your family in those days. What you're going to need, what your family is going to be needed to be led by. I'm going to say, yeah, I'm the head of the household, but you're going to know it's important in that day, right? Because let me get Genesis chapter 12 verse 1. All right, it says, let me see. It says, now the Lord had said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee. So, and verse 5 on it says, and Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran, and they went forth to go into the land of Canaan, and into the land of Canaan they came. So Abram had to listen to what the Most High was saying and get himself moving, and his wife had to follow suit. His family had to go through with it as well. So it's important as a man having understanding, that you actually, being spiritually fed, so that when it comes to famine, when it comes to tribulation, that you're actually leading your household. The best thing you can do for your household is actually be righteous to where the Holy Spirit can actually use you to guide you, to guide you into the right place. That's the best thing that you can do as a man, to provide for your household, to make sure you're in the spirit. That's the best way of loving your wife, the best way of loving your children, the best way of guiding and protecting and providing for your children is providing a vision and guidance on a spiritual level, so you know what to do in these times, right? Otherwise, we're gonna be caught out. We're gonna be in a position where we're vulnerable, and that's not a position that is gonna be fruitful for us. I'm gonna go to Isaiah as well, chapter 58, verse 10. So Isaiah chapter 58, verse 10. It says, "And if thou draw out thy soul to the hungry, and satisfy the afflicted soul, then shall thy light rise in obscurity, and thy darkness be as the noonday. And the Lord shall guide thee continually." Right? So you want the Most High to guide you continually, then you're going to have to draw out your soul to the hungry. How do you draw your soul to the hungry? By giving alms, right? Feeding your people, man, that are poor, that are afflicted, right? Because every time, not that you're kind of just doing it out of a chore, or you're doing it because, oh yeah, if I do this, the Most High is going to... Don't think of it like that. You want to do it out of love, of course, but I would say when you're giving to the poor, right, and you're giving alms and you're helping brothers and you're helping sisters out that are needful, that's going to be rewarded in that famine. That's when you're going to get guidance then, because as you gave to those that were needful, the Most High is going to be able to give to you, Most High. If it's His will and you have grace and you have mercy, He's going to give to you when you're hungry, right? When you're starving, when you're thirsty, when you have no clothes, then you're going to get that. That's why it's important that we look after our brothers and our sisters that are actually suffering, because they're another extension of us for the time that we're suffering, right? Verse 11, it says, "And the Lord shall guide thee continually and satisfy thy soul in drought." The Most High is going to satisfy the soul of the person who is satisfying other souls, right? Just like if you want to receive forgiveness, you have to forgive. If you forgive, the Most High then will forgive you. If you are merciful towards your brother, then you will receive mercy. But if you want to be a judge and a master over your brother and condemn your brother or condemn your sister, then when you slip up, the Most High will condemn you, right? So if you are giving unto your brother that is needful, you're not despising the poor, you're not despising people who need things, then the Most High is not going to despise you when you need things. The Lord says He's going to satisfy your soul in drought, which is a famine of water. Reading on, it says, "And make fat thy bones." Right? We're going to be living good. Not going to be to the point where your bones are breaking because you haven't eaten in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or even longer. All right, reading on. It says, "And thou shalt be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water, whose waters fail not." Right? So yeah, chiefly in the kingdom, but regardless, the Most High is going to be able to look after you, deliver you, satisfy you in these times where we're going to need Him. So just like fasting is a chief principal thing, another chief thing that we have to do if you want to be able to survive those days is give alms. Because that's why the Lord said alms is going to deliver from death. Because when you're looking after people who need you, when you're in need and no one's around, you're going to get the help from the Most High directly, man. Or it could be through not someone else, man. But He'll reward you sevenfold.
I ain't got any more points, so I'll close out again.
Can't. You can close. I'm gonna get one more in Jeremiah and close out. This is Jeremiah chapter 15 verse 2 says, and it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then thou shalt tell them, thus saith the Lord, such as for death to death, such as for the sword to the sword, and such as for the famine to the famine, and such as for captivity to the captivity. So I say that to say, all of these things, are made, and we can't get away from that. We can't run away from it, right? I'm gonna get the last one, the same one I opened up with, just as a reminder, right? Amos chapter 5 verse 18. It says, woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. So look at the things that the day of the Lord is really about. Captivity, famine, death, sword. What is their end for you? It might be one of those 4 things, man. If we're not in the right spirit, right? If we're not, like the brother was saying, if we're not fasting, you're not repenting, you're not sincere, you're doing whatever you want to do, you've got your own gods, then what is the end? What is the day of the Lord for you? Do you really want or need that day of the Lord? No, you need to get righteous right now. You need to get your spirit on point right now. That is our priority. Don't be wishing for the day of the Lord and you're still wicked, man. You're still in your sins. Get yourself right. Stop fooling yourself. Stop trying to be put on a front for everyone. It's keep your faith between you and the Most High, man. Right? Make sure you're in the spirit of the Most High. Right? So that, man, we'll close out Most High willing. That was just an exhortation for us to make sure we are prepared, man. Make sure we're prepared for this famine. Make sure we're prepared for these last days. Right? So that, shalom.
Shalom.